Hey guys, how you doing? I'm back here again. And what we're going to talk about today is sales development, specifically the use of a CRM or contact relationship management software, um, and why you should consider using that. See, the number one reason for lost sales is not pricing. The number one reason for lost sales is lack of follow-up or improper follow-up. So what I mean by that is keeping your word, following up in a timely manner. Whether you're doing B2B or B2C, that really is irrelevant. Relationship, trust, and confidence is absolutely necessary for both B2B and B2C. So if you've got the trust and the confidence, you've got at least a door open and you have a chance. But the follow-up aspect of it is critical, because if you're speaking with someone and they're a decision maker and they haven't made a decision and their time frame for a decision is going to be sometime in the future, you want to make sure you follow up. And you could do this in a number of different ways. I mean, you could use a notebook. You can use your head. I don't recommend doing that because our head is filled with 10 million things every day, and you're going to end up forgetting things. So if you're using your head to remember things, the first thing you need to do is stop that. Stop it. The least you can do is take a notebook. Now, if you're going to use a notebook or you're going to use a planner, you got to use it consistently and persistently. That means if you don't have one that has a calendar in it, don't just use a scrap piece of paper or sticky notes or a notebook that doesn't have dates, because again, you're going to miss some things. You probably will be doing better than if you just use your head to remember stuff, but it's still not efficient, and I don't recommend that. You should use a paper calendar or a planner that you can pick up at any office supply store. Anyway, for example, if you're going to use a planner or calendar, you have a conversation with Joe, and you say Joe tells you that he's going to be making a decision on awarding some type of business in 2 weeks. And you finish the conversation, hey Joe, let me touch base with you next week. I just want to see how things are coming with your project. And if he agrees, then you write that in the following week at an agreed time. So put down the time, put down the date, and then now when you're looking at your calendar every single day, when you get to that day, you're not going to have to remember that you're going to call Joe. He's there. The other thing you do, of course, if you obviously most people have a smartphone, you can put it in your calendar on your smartphone. It has the same effect. Some people prefer paper, some people prefer technology, some people use both. I personally use both. Just my preference. Some things I throw on my calendar on my phone, and some things I write down that I feel are more important. I tend to write those things down and track them on paper instead. But that's just me. Anyway, that's one way you can do it. Now, the other thing you can do, if you have a more complex situation where you're actually doing a lot of sales-specific type work, then you should consider getting a CRM or contact relationship management software. And you should choose one, and this is key because there's a lot of software out there. There's Salesforce, there's Zoho, there's Monday.com, and then there's one that's called Pipedrive, which I personally use. The reason that I choose Pipedrive, and again, this is key, is that it will prompt you for follow-ups. It's also pretty economical compared to others. So I've worked with Salesforce, I've worked with Pipedrive, I've worked with Zoho. Those are the three that I've mainly worked with. And in my view, from a cost to benefit analysis standpoint, I would definitely recommend Pipedrive over the other two because it prompts you for follow-ups and it's color-coded. And what I mean by that is that when you look at your daily calendar through Pipedrive, you'll have a green light, yellow light, red light system where in gray. So items that are marked as gray are in the future. Items that are marked red are late, and you want to be able to address those. And items that are green are due today, and items that are yellow don't have a follow-up activity. And that's the ones that you want to really focus on, not just the late ones, but the ones that don't have a follow-up activity labeled. So if you are prompted and you're helped with the fact that everything needs a follow-up and you've implemented the follow-up activity, and then you follow up on the day that you're supposed to follow up, your customer will then have a view of you as being someone that they can rely on and that you're going to be on time, that you don't miss stuff. But if you've got a CRM that doesn't prompt you, and Nextiva is a phone system that I've also used, and they have a CRM component to it, but this is a perfect example of a poor CRM because it'll not allow you to schedule follow-up activities. Most other ones will, but it won't remind you. Or if it doesn't schedule the follow-up activity, how are you supposed to follow up? If you're just going to keep it as like an Excel file, you put it to activity, you put some action, and then unless you're really focused on that, you don't have a prompt that says, hey, today you got to call Joe. And then if you have that, it's a reminder. It kind of jogs your memory. Oh yeah, I'm supposed to call Joe. And then when you call Joe, hey Joe, yeah, we had a call scheduled this time, and it was like 2, 3, 4 weeks ago, maybe a month before. What do you think Joe's going to think? Joe's going to think, hey, this guy's right on it, or this woman's right on it. So this is the most critical part and most important part of using a CRM. It allows you to load in your customer list very easily, and it allows you to start keeping track of those activities. And what's really good about it is if you have a sales team, then you can monitor their activities, and you can see who's on time, who has the activity. You can read the notes. Very easy to follow through and track if you're a sales manager or a general manager and you have a sales team. So I put a link in the description box below how you can hook up with Pipedrive. If you click on the link that I put down below for the Pipedrive connection, you can try it out for free, and there's no credit card required. It allows you to have full use of the system and see if it's right for you. And if it is, you can continue. And if not, then you can of course delete it. But they don't ask for a credit card. You can just go and check it out. I encourage you to check it out. At least check it out. Check it out. It is really a really nice piece of software. It's very easy to implement and very easy to use. I've implemented it many times with many of my clients. So I encourage you to check that out and make sure you do your follow-ups and don't miss those follow-ups. I've seen it happen so many times in sales where salespeople don't follow up because they're not well organized, and they, in some cases, don't know how to organize themselves. But the use of Pipedrive and consistently using that on a day-to-day basis will make even the most disorganized person organized, as long as they follow through and see what their calendar says in the day, and they make notes in the system. So that's the most important thing. Have the conversations. Keep a record of each deal that you're working on in the CRM, in Pipedrive, or whichever one you end up using if you end up using another one. And that way you can follow through on a project right up until the time that you've been awarded the project or you've lost the project. And it keeps track of all that for you, dollars and everything. So it's quite good from that standpoint. And again, I do encourage you to check that out. If you have any questions, please post them in the comments below. If you have any suggestions for any future videos, I welcome those. Please go ahead and write that in the notes below. And now, fun fact. The adult panda can eat up to about 12 hours per day, and it consumes 28 pounds of bamboo, a minimum of 28 pounds of bamboo. That sounds like a tongue twister. 28 pounds of bamboo every day. It's actually quite incredible. Anyway, so that's it for today. And if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to share, subscribe, and ring that bell so you will get the latest videos that are in production. And until next time, keep raising your profit.